Ever wonder why some people attract success like magnets? They've mastered a powerful psychological trick, acting as if they've already achieved their dreams. Meanwhile, you grind, you wait, you second-guess, and the life you crave slips further out of reach. Why does it burn so deeply when you see others rising while you feel stuck? Why does it tear at your confidence when you realize hard work alone isn't enough? The uncomfortable truth is this: success doesn't come to those who wait to be ready. It comes to those who decide they already are. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you believe yourself worthy of, long before there's any proof. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden power of identity, the silent force that's been shaping your reality without you even realizing it. If you're ready to stop rehearsing failure and start living like it's already yours, stay locked in, because what you're about to learn could change everything. The power of positive pretending. Why do we so often fall short of our own expectations, clinging to the safety of the familiar rather than reaching for our dreams? It's a conundrum that has puzzled philosophers and psychologists alike. But what if the secret to success is simpler than we think, embedded not in the actions we take, but in the persona we embody each day? This concept isn't a modern-day self-help gimmick. It's rooted in the age-old wisdom of Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to create our reality through the power of perception. Let's explore this intriguing idea of positive pretending. It's a practice where you step into the shoes of your future self, the successful, confident, accomplished version of you. Carl Jung once remarked, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This aligns seamlessly with our concept. By consciously acting as if you have already achieved your goals, you begin to elevate your subconscious expectations of yourself. Aristotle taught that we are what we repeatedly do, implying that excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. When you adopt the daily habits of your successful future self, you're not pretending in the superficial sense. You're training your psyche to internalize these success habits as your new norm. Your mind gradually stops seeing your actions as acts of pretense and starts recognizing them as reflections of your true self. Plato discussed the importance of shaping one's destiny through rigorous self-discipline and understanding of the self. In the context of positive pretending, this could be seen as the discipline to remain consistent in your new role. It's about maintaining the belief in your transformed identity even when external successes have yet to materialize. Nietzsche's philosophy encourages the embrace of one's life with all its challenges, asserting that becoming who we truly are involves much struggle and reinterpretation of our own stories. Through the lens of positive pretending, this struggle is internal. It involves battling against our old narratives of limitation and inadequacy, and affirming, "I am capable and I am deserving of success." Moreover, when you embody this mindset, you're not merely waiting for external validation, you're creating it from within. This doesn't just change how you view yourself, it fundamentally alters how you interact with the world. Your interactions, your work, and your relationships begin to reflect this new, empowered identity. This shift is profound, for as Socrates might suggest, the key to wisdom is knowing oneself, and through positive pretending, you come to know the more capable version of yourself. Remember, the journey of embodying your future successful self is not about deception. It's about transformation. It's about aligning your external actions with your internal potential, and in doing so, transforming the potential into reality. Every step you take as your future self consolidates the belief in your new identity, fortifying your path to success with every act, every decision, every interaction. Visualize to materialize. Most people spend their lives waiting for a sign, a moment when they finally feel ready, confident, capable. But what if the sign you're waiting for isn't coming? What if you are the sign? You see, change doesn't happen when the world validates you. It happens when you decide to step into the future you want, right here, right now, long before anyone else can see it. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you think small, you live small. But if you start thinking, walking, and speaking like the person you dream of becoming, your very soul begins to reshape itself. Say you want to be the best in your field, not just competent, but truly respected, influential. How would you walk into a room? How would you greet your colleagues? How would you speak during meetings? Would you shrink yourself to fit the old version of you? Or would you carry yourself like someone who belongs at the top? You wouldn't hesitate. You wouldn't second-guess every move. You'd own the space. You'd speak with clarity and move with purpose. You wouldn't need anyone to hand you a crown. You'd wear it invisibly. This is where visualization comes into play. Not the soft, vague daydreaming we often fall into, but strategic mental rehearsal. Carl Jung said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart." Visualization isn't about magic. It's about clarity. It's about repeatedly reminding your subconscious who you are becoming until your nervous system responds like it's already fact. Think about it. Before an athlete wins a gold medal, before an artist paints a masterpiece, before a leader inspires millions, it happens first in the mind. Plato taught that the beginning is the most important part of the work, and this beginning is always internal. They don't wait for permission to feel like champions. They see it, they feel it. They become it inside long before the external world catches up. Now, this isn't about pretending. That cheapens the process. Nietzsche once said, "Become who you are." Acting as if you're already successful isn't faking anything. It's uncovering what's been buried under years of self-doubt, bad habits, and hesitation. It's peeling back the noise to reveal the strength that was already there. It's standing in that version of you, fully, unapologetically, until reality has no choice but to adjust around you. Every morning you have two choices. Slip back into the comfort of the familiar, or walk, talk, and think as the future you. Sharpen your image of who you're becoming. See it so vividly that it feels like memory. When you walk into your office, don't just stroll in like it's any other day. Walk in as the leader, as the innovator, as the person people turn to when it matters most. When you speak, speak like someone whose voice carries weight, because you believe in the value of your words. Socrates believed that the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. That's the heart of visualization, building the new, not by tearing yourself apart for what you aren't yet, but by fully stepping into what you are capable of becoming. And here's where it gets powerful. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined reality and a real one. It responds to emotion, belief, and repetition. That's why when you dress sharper, stand taller, and speak more decisively, your brain wires itself to match those behaviors. It's not an act, it's a rewiring, a reconditioning of your very identity. No one will hand you permission slips to become great. No moment will feel perfect enough to start. The only permission you need is the one you give yourself today. Visualization isn't just a tool for the dreamers, it's the blueprint for the doers, the people who dared to see themselves as more before anyone else could. Start now. See it, speak it, walk it. Let your life catch up to the vision you hold so vividly in your mind. And remember, the world will mirror the way you see yourself far more often than you think. The language of winners. Every day, without even realizing it, we cast spells on ourselves, not with wands or magic, but with words. The things you tell yourself over and over carve deep paths into your mind. If you tell yourself you're slow, unlucky, unworthy, your mind, loyal to a fault, believes you. It obeys your commands without question. This isn't just motivational talk, it's hardwired psychology. Carl Jung warned, words are animals alive with a will of their own. Left unchecked, your words quietly train your subconscious to either lift you up or chain you down. If you keep saying, "I'm bad at this," what happens? Your brain nods, adjusts, and makes sure you stay bad at it, because you've given it an order. But shift the language slightly. "I'm mastering this," or "I'm getting stronger every day," and suddenly your mind leans forward instead of shrinking back. Tiny changes in language, tiny ripples in thought, but over time they carve out an entirely different future. The Stoics knew this power intimately. Epictetus taught, "It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." Language is how we shape those judgments. It's the filter between raw experience and how we choose to understand it. If you describe every obstacle as a disaster, life feels overwhelming. But if you describe the same obstacle as a training ground, it transforms into something empowering, a forge instead of a graveyard. Plato believed that the soul is moved by the words it hears. If your inner dialogue is constantly filled with doubt and limitation, your soul starts shrinking, hiding, retreating. But when you flood your self-talk with strength, patience, and purpose, the soul expands. It stands taller, it fights harder, it reaches for more. Words don't just describe reality, they create it. Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do, but we also are what we repeatedly say." Your nervous system tunes itself to the stories you tell. Say you're overwhelmed enough times, and overwhelm becomes your default state. Say you're evolving and growing even in the middle of chaos, and growth becomes your default identity. Nietzsche, never one to shy away from uncomfortable truths, said, "All great things must first wear terrifying and monstrous masks in order to inscribe themselves on the hearts of humanity." New affirmations, new languages of strength might feel unnatural, even false at first. Saying, "I am mastering this," when you still stumble and struggle, feels fake, but that's exactly the point. You're challenging the old mask. You're choosing a new story before the evidence arrives. And that discomfort, that's the threshold of change. That's the line between who you've been and who you're becoming. Socrates, with his endless questioning, would probably ask you today, why do you speak weakness into existence when strength is within your grasp? It's a question worth sitting with. Every sentence you say, whether out loud or in your mind, is a tiny vote for the person you're becoming. So, starting today, be ruthless with your words. Audit them, sharpen them. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning." Replace "this is too hard" with "this is building me." Swap "I'm failing" with "I'm getting closer." It's not about lying to yourself. It's about choosing the frame that empowers you, not the one that imprisons you. Your vocabulary is the blueprint your mind follows. Craft it with the same care you would craft a bridge meant to carry your future self across a canyon. Strong words, steady steps. You are always one sentence away from a different path. Speak the one that moves you forward. Cultivate your environment. It's easy to blame a lack of progress on circumstances, timing, even luck. But one of the most powerful forces shaping your life, quietly, relentlessly, is the environment you allow yourself to live in every single day. And the harsh truth? If you're surrounded by chaos, clutter, noise, and negativity, you're not just struggling against the world. You're fighting your own surroundings every time you try to rise higher. The Stoics taught that while we cannot control external events, we can control our response to them, and that includes crafting the spaces we choose to inhabit. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." But your thoughts, more often than you realize, are dyed by your environment first. Walk into a space that's disorganized and suffocating, and your mind mirrors that energy. Walk into a space that's clean, sharp, and purposeful, and suddenly you stand taller, breathe deeper, think clearer. It's not magic, it's architecture for your mind. Take a real, honest look around you right now. Does your environment scream future leader? Does it reflect the ambition burning quietly inside you? Or does it silently reinforce your doubts, your procrastination, your playing small? If you aim to be a creator of value, a driver of innovation, a builder of something lasting, then your environment must become the first proof of that identity. Aristotle believed that excellence was not an act but a habit, and habits thrive or die depending on the soil they're planted in. It's not about luxury, it's about intentionality. Organizing your workspace like a professional isn't just about aesthetics. It's about aligning your outer world with your inner vision. Plato once said, "The beginning is the most important part of the work." Setting up your environment to reflect excellence is that crucial beginning. You are sending signals to your brain. This is who I am. This is what I expect. This is what I'm building. Carl Jung would remind us that people don't have ideas. Ideas have people. Your environment is a living idea, a constant whispering voice reminding you who you are and what's possible for you. A messy, chaotic environment keeps you chained to old ideas about yourself. An environment curated with care, clean, intentional, forward-focused, plants entirely new ones. Nietzsche pushed the idea further, insisting that the individual must become who they are. But becoming doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens when every corner of your life, from the conversations you have to the state of your desk, pulls you relentlessly forward toward your ideal self. Socrates believed that the unexamined life is not worth living. Examine your environment. What does it say about your seriousness, your discipline, your dreams? When you clear the clutter, you don't just create physical space. You create mental space. Space for sharper ideas, bolder decisions, deeper focus. Start small if you need to. Clear off your desk completely. Add one symbol of the life you are building, a book, a quote on the wall, a carefully chosen tool of your craft. Curate your surroundings like a Stoic would curate his mind, eliminating the unnecessary, sharpening the essentials. Remember, your environment either anchors you to the past or catapults you toward the future. Choose carefully, because whether you see it or not, you are being shaped every minute by what you allow around you. Build a world that pushes you, reminds you, and dares you to grow into the person you are destined to become. The role of decisive action. There's a dangerous trap we all fall into sometimes, the illusion that thinking about change is the same as making it happen. We read the books, we talk about our dreams, we even plan them out in neat little journals, but somewhere between intention and execution, the momentum dies, and the future we want, it stays locked behind the door we never bothered to open. The Stoics were brutal in their simplicity about this. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop planning, start doing. You can visualize success all day long, but without action, it's just another fantasy gathering dust in the corners of your mind. Real transformation happens when your behavior shifts, not your mood, not your wishes, but your actual lived daily actions. If you dream of being a writer, it doesn't matter how many motivational videos you watch. What matters is whether you put words on a page today, not tomorrow, not when inspiration strikes. Today. Carl Jung would say, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." The subconscious mind doesn't build self-esteem off good intentions. It builds it from evidence, daily proof that you are someone who keeps their promises to themselves. Every time you take decisive action toward your future self, you're stacking bricks into the foundation of your next life. Every time you delay, make excuses, or overthink, you quietly pull those bricks down. Plato understood that the world of ideals, of pure thought, was beautiful, but incomplete without action. Ideas alone don't move the soul forward. It's in the friction of execution, of stepping into the arena, that we refine who we are. The future doesn't belong to the dreamers who dream the hardest. It belongs to those who act with courage, even when the path isn't clear yet. You don't need permission. You don't need every answer. You just need to move. You want to start a business? Start laying the bricks now. Research your market. Build a rough plan. Reach out to someone who's already done it. You don't need $1 million idea to begin. You just need the decision that your old life isn't enough anymore. Nietzsche spoke often about the will to power, that inner force that pushes us to overcome ourselves, to expand beyond who we were yesterday. Decisive action is the manifestation of that will. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It demands that you sacrifice the security of preparation for the uncertainty of motion. But without that leap, you remain a ghost haunting your own potential. And don't confuse bold action with reckless action. Aristotle wisely advised that virtue lies between excess and deficiency, courage, not recklessness, decisiveness, not desperation. Every step you take should be anchored in your larger vision, even if it's a small, imperfect step. This isn't about sprinting blindly. It's about steady, intentional movement, aligning each action with the person you're determined to become. Socrates once asked, "How much better to get wisdom than gold? To get insight rather than silver. But wisdom without action is like gold locked in a chest you never open. You can know all the right things. You can believe all the right philosophies. But if you don't move, if you don't step forward when it's messy, scary, and uncertain, all that wisdom is wasted." So the question isn't, are you dreaming big enough? The question is, are you acting bold enough? You create the life you want through the steps you take when nobody is clapping for you yet, when no one is watching, when it would be so easy to delay just one more day. Every bold move you make now sends a signal into the future, carving out the life that's waiting for you, if you dare to claim it. So stop waiting for someday. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start acting like the person who refuses to leave their future in the hands of chance. Because decisive action isn't just a strategy. It's the announcement to the universe that you're serious. And the universe, as the Stoics would remind us, has a way of yielding to those who are willing to meet it with relentless will. Consistency is key. There's a cruel trick life plays on us. It lets us feel motivated for a moment, just enough to dream big, but not long enough to actually change. We get fired up for a day, maybe a week. We act bold. We move with purpose. And then, almost without noticing, we slide right back into old patterns. It's not because we're lazy or broken. It's because true change isn't sparked by big moments. It's built through tiny, relentless, almost boring acts of consistency. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca once said, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." And you only gain that kind of self-mastery through daily discipline, not bursts of inspiration. When you decide to act as if you're already the person you want to become, it can feel electrifying at first. You speak differently. You move with confidence. You dare to think bigger. But if you only do it when it's convenient or exciting, nothing truly shifts. Your nervous system, your habits, your self-image, they only rewire through repetition. Carl Jung put it best: you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Your subconscious doesn't listen to your promises. It watches your patterns. Consistency is the glue. It's what ties everything else together. The visualizations, the decisive actions, the elevated environment, the upgraded language. Without consistency, they're just moments. With consistency, they become identity. Aristotle taught that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Every morning when you wake up, the world asks you one silent question: who are you today? And every action you take is your answer. It's not about grand gestures. It's about waking up and asking yourself, what would the future me do today? And then doing it, even if it's uncomfortable, especially if it's uncomfortable. Plato believed that the discipline of habit was one of the highest forms of self-education. In his view, real power came from aligning your daily behavior with higher ideals, not once in a while, but continuously. When you build the muscle of consistency, you stop needing motivation to get moving. You just move. You stop negotiating with yourself every morning about whether you feel like it. You just act in accordance with the identity you've chosen. Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Your why, the person you are becoming, fuels the discipline to show up daily, even when you're tired, discouraged, or doubting. Because consistency isn't about perfection, it's about stubbornly refusing to abandon your future for the comfort of today. Think of a stone cutter hammering at a rock. Maybe nothing happens for the first 100 strikes. No cracks, no visible progress. But on the 101st blow, the rock splits open. It wasn't that one strike that did it. It was all the strikes that came before, patiently, persistently, stacking pressure against the impossible. Socrates would have asked, "Are you willing to do the small, unseen work that greatness demands?" Because that's what real consistency looks like. Showing up when no one is watching, practicing when there's no immediate reward, investing in yourself when the results are invisible. Each small choice, writing the page, hitting the gym, organizing your workspace, choosing your words carefully, stacks up like layers of armor around your new identity. And over time, something incredible happens. It's not just effort anymore. It's who you are. The world rewards the persistent, not the perfect. The future belongs to those who choose, day after day, to act in alignment with the life they want, even when it's easier to slip back into old habits. Consistency isn't sexy. It's not always exciting, but it's how you turn potential into proof. So every day, before you rush into the noise of life, take one moment. Ask yourself, what would the future me do today? Then honor that answer, no matter how small, no matter how hard. Because if you win enough of those tiny battles, you wake up one morning and realize you're no longer acting. You've become the person you were always meant to be. Every small step you take, every decision to act in alignment with your future self, is a quiet revolution. It's the invisible work that builds an unstoppable life. Remember, you're not waiting for transformation. You're living it with every choice you make. Stay relentless, stay intentional, and trust that the path you're carving, even when unseen, is leading exactly where you were always meant to go. Thanks for being a part of Stoic Journal, where wisdom meets action. If you're ready to keep building that unshakable foundation, there's another video waiting for you right here. See you in the next one.